All right. So, thanks for tuning in to the Talk with Jeff show. And this is the second episode. As you can see, I was having a little sound problem, but I'm working on it. Eventually, everything is going to work out fine. So, just to quickly talk about the TWJ, this is what I'm calling it right now until I really come out with a final decision on what I want to really, call it, or I might stay with the name. So this is a video podcast that I started, and I will be touch base on, I'll talk about politics, religion, science, healthcare, social interests and issues. So it's gonna be for now once a week, and from there we're just gonna go talk about interesting stuff, trying to make it unique. Talk to individuals that are very interesting, or people who have an expertise in an area, or just for entertainment. So this is what show is about. But today we're gonna continue on the subject that we were talking about last week, which is the president of Haiti, Jovenel Moise, who was assassinated. So before we get into the future of Haiti and its infrastructure, I really wanna put on my personal opinion in there, because I am Haitian. It is what it is. So we have to. I'm going to express myself in that format. When you kill a president of a country, it means a lot. It says a lot. Whether he was a criminal or he wasn't a criminal, this is something we still have to discuss in a different subject. And as the story is unraveling, we'll find out. But right now, you're saying that you want to destroy my property, my value, my race, my nation, my people. You want to destabilize us. And that's a problem. Hence, I hope that the police in Haiti, the FBI, and Interpol, including helping this investigation, will find everyone who were part of this crime. And the best sentence they should deserve, if you understand what I'm saying. I don't want nobody to go into exile. You're going to stay in the country. You're going to pay for what you did. And if you were financially supporting this, not only you get sentenced, but they take all your asset and they give it to the country. And I think that's what would really show how serious this nation is, because I think the bubble just burst. I think, unfortunately, someone had to die for it, but this can be an opportunity not to allow this to happen again, to show the world, to show the people of this country that, yes, we cannot allow this to happen again. So, this is my small take on it. The story's been unraveling, and I've been watching a lot of the videos of the president talking how frustrated he was with the corruption with some of these individuals within the government and the rich people in the country. So it's really interesting, and I hope that those of you, if you are part of the country, if you're Haitian, you speak Creole, even if you're not Haitian, you speak Creole, you can watch these videos and see and understand his frustration and what he was going through. It's really important. In addition, if you don't speak the language, talk to somebody who does, and at least you can have an understanding with this profound situation that happened. It's really serious. We can't just take it for granted. We can't just say, okay, this is going to happen again and again. Something has to be done in order for it not to happen. So, yeah. But that what happened now? What happens now? And this is the subject that we're going to get into. The future of Haiti. So, in this show today, we're going to talk about the infrastructure. It's going to be a very small show, very short. The infrastructure of Haiti, the future of Haiti. And that will give you an idea of what's been going on in the country. That will bring a light from the past into the future. First, we're going to highlight the basic things of what an infrastructure, in order to build an infrastructure, what it needs. Basic needs, because it could be several different things, but I'm going to concentrate today on 4 different little subjects that really can build an infrastructure, can build a nation, so that the nation can stabilize and progress. Not only you need stability, but you need progression. The very first thing is security. At least let me list all of them to you first. We have security, education, jobs, transportation. Very first thing is security. Why is security important? Just think that for a second. You have a little backyard, you want to plant your fruits and vegetables, you want to grow your fruits and vegetables. But if you don't plan ahead, you're going to have a lot of friends coming over. Your birds, your squirrels, your rabbits, they're going to eat your fruits and vegetables. That's Mother Nature. That's how it is. So, what needs to be done is that you need to create a safety measure in order for your plants to grow properly. It's the same thing with children. If a child is in a house and is going through physical and mental abuse, it'll reflect in the child's behavior. It'll reflect in the child's school grade. So it's really important that the child feels safe, so that the child can be stabilized psychologically and progress. It is the same thing for a country. In order for the people to work, for their stability, for their everything else involving that's going to help in the growth of the country, you need security and a sense of safety. They're not really the same thing, but they work together. Safety really deals with more the psychological aspect, the mental mind aspect of an individual, so that this person can feel there's no danger ahead. Does security provide that? Yes. So, within security, what would help Haiti? Of course, a military, right? Ground, air, military, maritime. Haiti needs a military. Now, let me go back for a second. Don't think Haiti never had one. Haiti did. Haiti had a military. Back in 1958 with President Francois Duvalier, he created a very strong military. And in 1995, President Jean-Bertrand Aristide came and he disbanded the military. Here's the funny thing. President Jovenel Moïse, he knew what the country needed so far, because in 2017, he reinstated the army. He knew the army was very, very important to the safety, the security and the safety of the nation. The military is an institution that protects the Constitution, the law, the people, and the land of a country. Okay? It protects the land from domestic and foreign enemies. So, even though it's even though with you are part of this country, you're domestic, you're part of the land, but if you become a danger to the land, the military can step in. The military can step in. So President Jovenel Moïse knew that a military was needed, so he reinstated the military to provide, to begin with the security process. Now, here's the thing. Before I go any further, also I want to talk about what's important with these infrastructures, these things that part of the infrastructure. They create a connection, a network together, because one will work with the other. You're going to see what I mean by that. So, just to go back with this whole military thing, the military can do some different type of several operation that visible and invisible to create permanent stability in a society. Now we let that for the leaders in military to handle the situation. Perhaps if we have a military personnel, an expert, they can come and explain that to us. Another important aspect in military is humanitarian service. It's not about gun and all that with the military. The military can be served as a humanitarian service to help a nation. When you integrate the military into the nation's emergency management system, in order to mitigate and provide stability during major catastrophes, it will make a big difference if you didn't have one at all. So they're a great purpose for a nation to have military. Is it necessary to have a military? I think it's based on the country, because some places you don't have a strong military defense, but there are other ways they're prospering. All right? So, I'll give you an example. Let's take the earthquake in 2010 that happened in Haiti. 7-point magnitude earthquake, complete disaster, catastrophe. There was no military. Of course, the United States, China, and some other countries came and helped. But it was very chaotic, disorganized. I'm not sure, and I'm sure they probably do, if Haiti has an emergency management system, but having a military that would be integrated in such a system would definitely make a difference. You remember all these medications, food, and other products, provisions the people couldn't get? Remember all this stuff? Chaotic, because there was no system place. The people weren't ready for it. And that's part of leadership. Emergency management system, warfare, domestic and foreign enemies. There have to be a part of your system so that you can provide security, stability, and mitigation to a country. Another part of security is intelligence. You need to collect information so that with this information you can protect the fundamental of the country, of a nation. Information that can disrupt the nation, the public. Information concerning criminal activities. For instance, like a coup d'etat on a president. How on earth you have about a number of Colombians on an airplane entering the country but nobody noticed. Because I don't remember the Olympic Games happening in Haiti. So, what happened? Did somebody drop the ball? Was there no intelligence unit to calculate and take that information and say, let me find out what's going on? Or they're let in, or were they let in the country on purpose? So, intelligence is really important in collecting information. Now, does Haiti have one? I'm going to tell you. The Service d'Intelligence Nationale, or intelligence, National Intelligence Services, was established in 1986 by the CIA, so that they can help with drug trafficking, they can counter drug trafficking and collect information concerning other criminal activities happening in the country. But you have to understand, where Haiti is located is prime location for it to spread all kinds of criminal activity, from drug trafficking, human trafficking, weapons and all that stuff. So of course, bigger countries, stabilized countries, they're going to have intelligence all over the places within the Caribbean, so that they can make sure they counter any kind of or prevent any kind of criminal activity that's happening. So back in 1986, the CIA had one, but eventually it got corrupted, because what they started doing, apparently, they started collecting information on the opposite side, other government officials. It got corrupted and it got disbanded. So now, November 2020, President Jovenel Moise came out, wrote in the article that, he wanted to create an intelligence division called l'Agence Nationale d'Intelligence. So an intelligence division where we would have total power. And this division would investigate criminal activities not only pertaining to the public, but government officials. So far I'm seeing that he's trying to establish an infrastructure that's really going to help the country. He knew what to do. He knew how to go about it. So far, I don't know, as of today, I don't know what happened with this intelligence division, if it was ever created. But due to the corruption that we know Haiti it's been going through for years, this would have unraveled a whole lot. So this is something to think about. So, I'm trying to read some of the comments at the same time and see what people are saying. All right. So, talking about infrastructure, we're still talking about security. I'm going to leave that soon. One more thing I want to discuss before we get out of there. Electricity. Electricity, I put it under security. It could be by itself, but for now, because it's such a basic information I'm passing along, so I just put electricity underneath security. We live in a world of technology where electricity improves the quality of life. The importance of electricity, run water, provide security, the healthcare system, like the hospitals, transportation. So electricity is important. Apparently there was this guy who was getting between 10 to 12 million dollars a month $10 to $12 million a month in Haiti so that he could provide electricity, but he didn't do any of it. And there are several videos that came out showing that where the president was having problem with this guy. They wanted to keep their money, but they never provided the service. In addition, there's one thing I want to mention. This whole thing about people, it's written everywhere. People talk about it all the time. Haiti is the poorest country in the world. For somebody to get $10 to $12 million, I don't think Haiti is the poorest country in the world or in the Western Hemisphere the way they usually say it. I'm starting to think that Haiti is one of the richest country. For somebody to get $10 to $12 million, I need to know where that money is coming from and then where that money is going. So anyways, he didn't provide electricity to the country, which is part of the security system to enforce security in a nation, to make the nation move at easily. Transportation of cars, trains, airplanes. So it's electricity is essential in our day and time. Essential. All right, let's get to the next. Let's get to the next subject, which is education. This is supposed to be a very short and live session on the future and the infrastructure of Haiti. So we're gonna get into education. Now, before I hit education, I have to clear something up. It's been very popular these days. People are walking around saying that you don't need an education to be successful. You don't need an education to be successful. Guess what? You may be right. You don't need an education to be successful. It all depends on what you're trying to do. And it all depends on how you measure success. They're not the same thing. Success can have different type of meaning. So, you may be right. But here's the confusion though. People tend to confuse an education system, getting a degree, going to school, or a training, education of life, basic training in everything, where you don't have to go to school for technically, but you have to learn. There's not one thing on this planet you don't get a training from. You get the training, then you can apply that training. There's not one thing. So when you talk about education, you have to really specify. Am I talking about the education system? Am I talking about just education or the general? Because if you think that you don't need to know nothing in this life to be successful, I don't know. Maybe you might go to social media, Instagram or TikTok, get naked, do some funny videos, but you still had to learn something. That's the tricky part about education. Okay, so you might get a degree. The degree may not work for you, but it could entail different reasons why the degree is not working. It could be because of your geographic position, you know what I'm saying? So maybe if you go to another country, that degree is needed. The funny thing about degrees as well, it might be a need right now. Let's say you enter college. First year in school, everybody's getting that degree at some point, and 4 years later, it's not needed anymore because the vacuum has been filled. Okay? In order to maintain stability, to move forward, you need education. You need education. In order to grow, to evolve, you need some type of training. You need to learn something. You need to know something. So instead of using the word education right now, I'm just going to use the word training. At least you can have a better understanding of what it means. Okay, so whenever we're talking about this phase right now, learning how to drive, learning how to fix a house, learning how to build a house, plumbing, learning how to cook, customer service, they're all part of training process. You need to be trained in order for you to maintain stability and for you to grow. If you're CEO of a company and you don't provide training to your people, your company, I will guarantee you, will not grow. It will maintain for a while, but it will not grow. You cannot come up with anything. You can't compete with technology, with other people, with other companies. You will not survive. That's the importance of training. That's the importance of education. So, Haiti back in the 1980s was at a 40% rate of illiteracy. And I think now it went up to 60%. All of the problems the country are facing financially and politically, people are losing faith in the government system. Now they're more concerned and they're hungry because $10 million is going to one person a month. I don't know for how long it's been happening. So they're hungry. So they're not going to be wasting time going to school. They're going to be looking for food. They're trying to survive. But as they're trying to survive and not getting any education, not getting any training, there's no stability, sustainability. There's no growth. And it's been happening for a very long period of time. And that's now why now you have the illiteracy rate at a higher percentage. Imagine you were born in a country as a young man, 18, 19, 20, full of energy, never had a chance to go to school, never had a chance to work. It's a lot. And when you're not busy, other things happen. You find yourself doing other things in order to survive. For instance, criminal activities. For instance, a country becoming overpopulated because you're not busy. And this is where jobs come in as well. Like I said, it's a connection, it's a network. So we're going to go directly into jobs, okay? We're going to go directly into jobs. We talked about education. I hope you have a sense and understanding what education means for an evolution, for growth, for sustainability. So when you talk about education, it's really important to a nation. Jobs. The fundamental of job creation. Yes, we all know that jobs provide money, food, and shelter. Always look into the small detail though. You may do one thing and it creates a network of events, as we've been talking about network of events. A man who has a job can be very busy. As we were talking about education, now he also has a job, so he ain't got no time to go around popping kids all over the place. That helps in overpopulation of a nation. Now, also, that can entail other details and cultural belief and all that. But it does make a difference comparing from someone who's not doing anything at all to someone who's very busy. And for structure of a nation, people need to work. Not only they can provide security and safety to their family, but also they can pay taxes that will help build a nation, build roads, build school. So, basic infrastructure of a nation. And here's another funny thing. Jobs also provide training. And training and jobs provide stability and growth. Network of event, basic need of life of a country to grow. Now Haiti has been trying. President Jovenel Moise have been trying to put these things together. But of course, I think that should be another subject to talk about a system that's been there before him. Was he ready to fight that system? Because he began to fight one person, but he found out he was fighting a group, a legion of people. The people who were supporting the system, he ended up fighting. Was he ready to get in? So what does it take for you to become president? Is it because your friend nominates you? Hey, you can become president. You have good heart because you have money. You are a celebrity. Do you understand politics? Can you make sacrifices? Do you have a team that's working with you? Or planning, working with you so that you can be prepared to fight a very strong, corrupted system. So, but that's another subject. But we know Haiti was a very prosperous country to a point where sugar was one of their main exports. Very prosperous and rich. Of course, through corruption and competition with other nations, a lot of things fell apart. And exterior forces, I must say, are involved in keeping the country down. It's all politics. But providing job in this country would help a lot. You see, I'm mentioning basic infrastructure, but I'm not talking about what we need. Yes, rice, you had coffee, rice, and sugar. Okay? So, I'm not talking about how these things are supposed to happen. We just want to come up with a basic understanding of what a nation needs. Any nation would need. If you think about the country you live in right now, look at it and how it's growing and what makes it grow. Education, security, jobs. That's why you'll see, if you live in the United States of America, they talk about job all the time. The importance of job for a nation. Transportation. Gonna get into transportation. We're almost done. A society cannot grow without the use of transportation, because with transportation, it's like a key factor to trading, to commercial services and communications. Now, I'm going to go back to 2010. Let's go back to 2010. Do you remember the story of Anika St. Louis? Or St. Louis? Anika St. Louis? Her story became very popular on CNN after the earthquake. She was trapped in a pile of rubble. Okay? Her leg was smashed. She was crying. God save me, please. Don't let me die. For 48 hours, she was stuck in the rubble. Now remember the story because CNN was in on it. 48 hours. Of course, rewind. Humanitarian services from the military would have helped. If you have a local military service, a lot of would have happened. A lot of mitigation. After 48 hours, when she was saved from the rubble, the family could not take her to a different hospital outside of the city, the main city, Port-au-Prince, to save her life. There was no transportation. And she did not make it. I cried. No helicopter, whether private, public, military, no hospital, helicopters, nothing. If the roads were good, I mean, of course, the earthquake 7-point magnitude, happened, but they were nothing. There was nothing they could do to save her life. Again, it's to show you the importance of the basic infrastructure of a nation to help the people, to create stability, because we're looking for stability right now in this country. Stability and growth. And guess what? This is where I'm going to leave it. Right here. We're not going to talk about who. We're going to leave it for another subject. Who can be involved in helping this nation? But one thing I must say, in all aspects in life, if you cannot help yourself, recognize your problem. No one will be able to help you. Even if they try. The United States is currently reluctant on sending a military to, force in the country, and I can understand why. For what? For what? We always want people to help us, but we got to be able to help ourselves first. This is what happened in growth. So, to recap, guys, security to protect the country and to provide safety. Education to build the mind of the people so that there can be growth, there can be stability and growth. And one thing I need to add before I go to the next one. You can have money, but you can't grow or you can't sustain. You can have money, so you cannot grow or sustain. But you cannot, in order for you to grow and sustain, you need to have in education. You need to have training. So whenever you think about success or money with training or education, just put that in mind. Of course, jobs keep the people busy, work, pay tax in the country. Don't have the money sit somewhere just for one person getting 10 to 12 million dollars. You don't know how many people over there are getting so much money, and you're calling it the poorest country in the nation, in the world. And transportation for trading, so that other areas within the country can grow as well. Transportation also helps with job placement. I can from another town to go work in the other area. I can get workers. So anyway, guys, thank you for today's episode, Talk with Jeff. And as I'm getting in deeper into it, I will give you more information, and things are going to be completely different episode after episode. Thank you for your time. We'll definitely see you on the next show. Definitely, I'm planning on working on it for the next week. And we'll probably talk about saving Haiti. Can we save Haiti? And who can save Haiti? So, blessing everyone. Make every day and every minute count.